end of the day, it didn't work. Like, none of that happened. And so because of that, he says, like, this whole thing, right, like this Incredible Hulk, it grew inside of me like some kind of a tumor, some kind of an illness, you know, and I was a fool to believe that it would ever stop growing in the first place, to believe that I could somehow control the Hulk or contain the Hulk, that after the events of dealing with the one below all and the one above all, that I somehow had a stronger grasp on all this. I was a fool to believe any of that. But more so than that, the biggest concern that Bruce Banner has is that at some point in time, the Incredible Hulk is going to manifest. He's going to take over. And his fear is not that the Incredible Hulk is going to kill his friends or anything like that. It's that the Incredible Hulk will stay that way. That Banner will never come back out again, right? That the Incredible Hulk will basically find a way to stay in control, and you'll never ever see Banner. He'll lose himself. And that's one of the funny things where, again, Donny Cates is building on history here, specifically with Peter David's The Incredible Hulk, The End. For those of you guys who never read that story, it was a phenomenal story, where basically the Incredible Hulk was the last living thing on Earth, right? Well, not really thing. He was the last living superhero, last living person on Earth. And that all that was left after this just catastrophic nuclear war was basically just him and like giant bugs that would eat him on a daily basis, and he would heal himself and all that kind of stuff. But there's one point near the end of the Sona basically dies of old age, however that works. And so because of that, the Incredible Hulk is eternally left alone on Earth. Like, he'll just be on Earth forever, and that'll be it. Until such a time that either Earth is colonized by some alien race, or life begins anew and begins to evolve, that the Incredible Hulk will seemingly just live on forever as the only occupant of the planet Earth itself, unless he finds a way to leave. The important thing is, this is one of those stories that Donny Cates is referencing here, and so it's kind of an interesting thing, because in the end, we kind of find out to a degree what's really going on here when Banner tells Betty Ross, get out of my head, right? Like, get out of my head and leave me alone. This is how it might as well end. And so what he does here is he sits on what's basically like a captain's chair, and then he says, like, these waves do not crash on me, they break on me because I am strong. And then from there, you basically switch over to the Avengers. I know it's weird, but it makes perfect sense here in a second, and I really love what Donny Cates is doing here, right? So the first thing you do is you pick up with Spider-Man. You're basically talking to the rest of the fully assembled Avengers and the Fantastic Four. And the question that's asked is like, okay, is anybody else super confused about what's going on here? And the response of Doctor Strange is, what Bruce Banner has managed to achieve here goes beyond anything anybody has done, right? That in effect, the Incredible Hulk becomes the single most powerful being on the face of the planet. And here's the reason why. It's one of those things where you can kind of extrapolate it. But the idea is that when Doctor Strange starts talking about this, he says that what he's built, that not even Doctor Strange could have achieved it, right? That Doctor Strange says he scoured the earth, searching and questioning every mystic and Omega level telepath that he could possibly find to see if they could do such a thing, and none of them could. Bruce Banner managed to achieve something that the most powerful beings on the face of the planet were unable to do himself. But then Strange says there's no way that Banner could have done it himself, that it just doesn't make any sense. The magic required is just beyond anything. And so at the end of the day, of course, Captain America kind of reels him back in and says, tell us what's going on. And so what we end up learning here is that Bruce Banner had basically fractured his mind into three distinct parts. And by unifying these parts, but controlling them individually, he's basically made what's being referred to as a starship. Right now, the term starship is a loose term here. This is not something like the end of like Moonwalker, right, where like Michael Jackson turned into a ship and flew away. That's not what we're talking about here. It's the phrase or the term starship in relation to basically how the Incredible Hulk exists right now. Now, the other thing about this is that the Incredible Hulk is making its way towards Wundagore Mountain looking for a particular thing. And it's kind of crazy because along the way, he's basically fighting Iron Man and 4 Hulkbuster armors, which is nuts, and he's overpowering them all. But what Doctor Strange tells us is that these three distinct parts are eloquently designed and really work as a singular cohesive unit. What Banner had done first and foremost is he had stolen technology from advanced idea mechanics and then basically used that technology to enhance the skin, for lack of a better word, of the Incredible Hulk. Basically, he's made the Incredible Hulk more durable than he was before, as if he needed it. The Incredible Hulk was already one of the most durable beings out there. Like, being able to successfully physically injure the Hulk is no small thing. I mean, you could make his nose bleed if you were strong enough, right? Like, the Thing has done that. But if you're talking about, like, literally cutting the Hulk, removing a limb or something like that, you need something like adamantium, possibly vibranium, and most likely something like carbonadium or the Muramasa blade in order to pull that off. You would need a highly specialized weapon to achieve that. What Banner's done here is basically push that durability beyond what we've previously seen with his character. And we'll actually see how far deep that goes, because it